Welcome to the Know, I'm Meg Turney.
I'm Ryan Haywood.
Executive VR battle. No, it's
Isn't
not.
it executive? What was executive VR battle?
Yeah, I said executive.
No, I can read.
Wait, what did you think it was?
I thought it was execute, but it's not.
I heard you say
you're
it
clearly
earlier,
right.
and
Yeah.
then I was like, I just won't tell him.
Well, I was like, why would we be talking about executive VR battle?
Well, because we're going to talk about some... You know what? Stay tuned. You'll find out. It's not a new virtual reality title. It's a real thing that's been happening over the last few weeks now that VR wars are fully going on.
For years, we've had to listen to these same dudes take pot shots at one of those consoles, so it's actually kind of refreshing to get like a new couple people to duke it out. We got Palmer Luckey, who lately has been a goldmine for people who love a good soundbite.
Oh yes, since the release of the Oculus Rift's mind-blowing price of $599, Luckey has been on the offensive. In an interview with IB Times, Luckey called PS4 users a separate market and said PSVR isn't nearly as high-end as the Oculus Rift. Snap, snap, snap. Oh.
I was putting something out.
Okay.
Because it was hot.
Right. Fire.
To be fair, he did go on to say that it's still a decent headset, and though he views the current marketplace as less about us versus them and more about us versus the consumer. So take that, consumers.
Yeah.
Meaning that the hurdle is convincing gamers that VR is a worthwhile investment. Yeah, that battle is particularly hard if you're asking them to spend a total of $1,500 in your firstborn for a PC and Oculus bundle.
Yes, so it's a gentlemanly disagreement at the moment between Sony and Oculus. Last week at CES, we saw executives Kaz Hirai and Palmer Luckey cordially comparing the size of their list of games, or penises, you know, whatever, or probably both. In his Reddit AMA, Luckey boasted more than 100 Oculus Rift games out at the end of 2016. Now Kaz Hirai didn't go quite all in on PSVR, merely confirming that there are 100 titles currently in development, with over 200 developers jumping in.
Not even Nintendo has been safe from the fallout. Palmer Luckey took some time to talk mess about the Virtual Boy, stating that it really hurt the potential of the VR industry, and it's not even true VR. I mean, take that.
Yeah.
And it hurt your eyes.
Yeah.
I heard it gave you mouse count cancer.
Mouse count cancer?
Mouse cancer.
Yeah, but mouse count cancer is a lot better.
That is also true.
Sounds like mousetrap.
Who are you gonna blame?
Palmer Luckey.
Let's face it, he's right. It's hard not to make Virtual Boy jokes when looking at all this new tech.
It's very true. We're all guilty of it. Even GameStop is jumping into the fray. At the ICR conference in Orlando yesterday, GameStop CEO Paul Raines officially backed Sony's headset, saying that Sony's got the edge in terms of content. From what we can see at this point, Sony seems to have the strongest title count.
Oh, look at you, GameStop, trying to be relevant. Of course, Rain's speech went on to devolve into a pitch for VR headset creators to please, pretty please, consider them as the go-to source for stocking VR because, my God, the marketplace is going to leave us behind before we know it.
I know that's exactly what he was saying. Angling for some VR merchandise aside, we wanted to take a look at Rain's comments about the content. Does Sony actually have the edge in terms of its virtual reality games, or does the title ultimately belong to Oculus Rift?
Pinning down exclusives for each of these VR headsets is a tricky process. Nobody's released a complete list of what we can expect at launch and beyond. Additionally, there are already a ton of games that have varying levels of support on different development kit versions of the Oculus Rift, like Skyrim, Alien Isolation, Elite Dangerous, Euro Truck Simulator 2. We're not sure if they're going to be considered full games at the time of Rift's release, or how compatible some or any of the games you currently experience on the Rift via Steam are going to be with the final version of the hardware.
Stay tuned for Skyrim VR.
Skyrim.
Skyrim.
I didn't say Skyrim wrong.
You said Skyrim.
I said Skyrim.
I'll put it in slow-mo and...
Skyrim. Scrim.
It's not Scrim.
I'm from Georgia. We call it Scrim.
We do know, for an interview with the Oculus CEO Brendan Areve, that there are over 24 Oculus Studio exclusive games in development for the Rift. These games are funded entirely by Oculus. In addition, they've invested at least $10 million in other VR titles that aren't exclusive to the Rift.
Talking about exclusives for the Oculus Rift is a misnomer anyway. In the second AMA Luckey did last week, he qualified what Oculus means when they talk about exclusives, stating that all exclusives will be playable on the Vive or future PC headsets, but that they'll be available for exclusive purchase at the Oculus Store. So in that regard, not even Oculus's exclusives are truly exclusive.
Right. Take a shot every time I say exclusive. However, that still means you won't be able to play those games in the PlayStation VR. But, I mean, that sucks. And we love some caveats, don't we, guys?
Caveat as fuck.
Yes. I can't believe you knew what AF meant.
I can read things.
No, you can't.
I just can't say them with my mouth. Currently, There are at least 30 confirmed games. See, there it went wrong.
Yes.
I think I drank too much last night.
I wish that was true.
Currently, there are at least 30 confirmed games that we'll be able to play on both the Rift and PlayStation VR. These include notable horror titles like Among the Sleep, featuring a hella creepy talking teddy bear. I'm coming for you. The Hum, an alien abduction game that hopefully doesn't involve VR probing. Allison Road, where shit gets crazy in a quiet neighborhood. And Dead Secret, the terrifying murder mystery.
In the sci-fi genre, we'll be able to run away from dinosaurs in the popular Ark Survival Evolved on both the Rift and PSVR. The assembly gives off some major Black Mesa vibes from Half-Life 1. VR developers seem very keen on space exploration in general, so we're going to be getting some cool simulators in that field like Io Moon and Earthlight, and a blatant gravity riff-off which is called Adrift with a 1 in there.
Wow, that's an I. It's leet speak.
Yes.
If you want awesome multiplayer action, Eve Valkyrie, one of the coolest VR games yet, will be available on both PSVR and Rift and ships with the latter. Relive some of your retro arcade days with the awesome Battlezone reboot, looking less like the old Battlezone tank games and more like Cyber Sled, which some of us spent way too much time playing at Showbiz Pizza. Or Chuck E. Cheese if you happen to be too young
to know what Showbiz Pizza is. You can also keep things a bit more cooperative with Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes, which is a unique cooperative multiplayer party game where your friends walk you through bomb defusal. We have played that so much, and
we've got several Let's Plays. Look for them on our channel.
Very fun. It definitely doesn't end any friendships.
Or lives.
Oh, yes.
As for the games we just don't know what the heck to make of yet, there's of course Surgeon Simulator, that really strange Eagle flight multiplayer game from Ubisoft, Mind Path to Talamus, which I guess is like Myst meets Twister?
Okay.
The
like
Twister, not like
Twister?
Twister, yeah. And last but not least, the game where you marry and start a family with Hatsune Miku.
Hatsune Miku!
No, I'm not going to say it right because that gives it power.
I like it.
That needs to be a day one title on everything,
Yes!
says the script, but not me.
Oh, not my heart. Exclusive titles for PlayStation are much easier to quantify with 29 exclusive titles, most recently shown at PSX in December. At that conference, we were introduced to former Halo developers Highwire Games' Golem, 100-Foot Robot Golf, which is exactly what it sounds like, Res Infinite, Psychonauts in the Rhombus of Ruin, bridging the gap between the first game and the newly crowdfunded sequel, along with Ace Combat 7.
Other interesting PlayStation VR exclusives include the gorgeous Crytek game Robinson: The Journey, which looks very impressive in its early glimpses. There's also Wayward Sky, a game that looks like Ico, if Ico took place on a flying sky fortress. And
Yes.
I mean, who wouldn't want to do that?
Exactly. But the biggest strength of Sony's PSVR lineup comes from its AAA entries. Final Fantasy XIV, the DLC for Until Dawn, which is called Rush of Blood, Tekken 7, Gran Turismo Sport, Drive Club, and London Heist Getaway. But of course, who could forget Dead or Alive Extreme 3? Except for, of course, us Western gamers who will be robbed of this game's release because of feminism, according to the developers, which is actual bullshit because it's scientifically proven everyone loves boobs.
I hear they have the most realistic boob physics in any game.
Everyone loves them.
They did extensive boob study.
They did. They actually also studied in a Fatal Frame how water goes off your collarbone.
I wonder how you get that job. What's the job posting there?
Just
boob,
a dude who
boob
loves
studier?
boobs. Yeah.
I'll be a boob studier.
I wonder if they have girls who come in and just jiggle for them, and then they just interesting.
Everybody that likes boobs, mine's just went there. Anyway, as far as Rift exclusives, and as we said earlier, we have to say exclusives in the broadest sense here. We really don't know many of which are confirmed. We do know that at least 24 are in development, but that's far less that have actually been announced. However, its most notable titles could be considered system sellers for some.
Yes, Star Citizen, if that game is ever finished, is going to be quite bonkers on the Rift. Bullet Train is an extremely cool FPS demo that isn't quite a confirmed game just yet, but hopefully it will be. There's also climbing adventures like Insomniac's Edge of Nowhere and The Climb. And Lucky's Tale, the Mario 64-like platformer that releases with every purchase of the Rift headset, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can also enjoy Minecraft on the Oculus Rift if you don't already own like 27 other versions of that game, which you do, so why not buy one more?
Yeah.
VR Sports Challenge, which is basically the Wii Sports of VR. Rock Band VR, which is one of the true huge exclusives unveiled at the VGAs in December.
Not impressed.
No, well, all right, everybody has their thing, okay?
Yeah.
Some people like boobs, some people like Rock Band. Super Hot, the time manipulation FPS, and
It's good.
yeah,
Very
it's
good.
super hot, like boobs. And Windlands, where you have superpowers in a blocky Minecraft-esque world, which is already out. Actually, on you can get it now on early access.
Oh, very cool. Not exactly the hugest list there for Oculus, of course, compared to Sony. So does that mean the GameStop CEO's comments are actually true? Well, on the surface, it does seem that way. PlayStation VR does have the gaming edge, not only the volume of announced exclusives, but some of the most recognizable AAA power titles that Sony has had on its side for quite some time. Plus, that very long list of titles for both systems does weigh in Sony's favor when you consider the price points between the two.
But one thing that Sony doesn't have on its side is the entertainment content that Rift is going to have access to. We know that one of the big opportunities that Oculus wants to explore revolves around attending VR concerts and other virtual events, as well as other types of 360-degree video, which people get angry about. They say that's not VR, but there's a whole argument there.
You look around.
They've already confirmed Sequenced, a 360-degree animated VR series that reacts to your focus.
Huh. Look at boobs. Someone gets mad. Plus, there's the ability to experience popular entertainment scenes like the Boiler Room from Spirited Away or the Bridge of the Enterprise. And while it's not quite sanctioned by Oculus, there are also loads of interesting third-party apps like Dolphin VR, which lets you emulate classic games in VR. What independent developers continue to do with the Rift and other more open environments will be something to really watch out for.
Right now, it seems like Sony does have Oculus one-upped in terms of games, and that so far as we've seen.
Yes.
But in the long haul, the Rift is going to be able to bring unique entertainment experiences that Sony hasn't announced or isn't as interested in pursuing, which really shows just how much Oculus has been investing in the long-term content, not just for themselves, but for VR really as a whole.
They're saints of VR, really. Now we just have to wait and see what comes next and what HTC and Valve announce as exclusive for the Vive.
So what do you guys think of the big, we know not exclusive or exhaustive, or exclusive,
Yeah.
exhaustive or exclusive list of VR games? Who wins? Tell us what you're most interested in and what we missed in the comments.
You missed the whole script, my friend.
I pretty much did.
That's my comment. To be on the cutting edge of all Hatsune Miku simulations.
No,
yes,
shut it down.
And other VR games. Like this video and subscribe to the know. Get your leaks out, bitches!
Probably you.
I wish it was.
You're probably tweeting right now.
You just shut the fuck
It's
up,
Gus.
Ryan.
It's Gus's fault, really, and my children. Somehow it's my children's fault. You want to see a picture of Eli?
I don't.
No,
I don't
okay.
care.
Fine.
I'm just
Oh,
kidding.
Jesus. God, that's cold. That hurt. As a father, that
Like
actually
your
cut me
child,
to my-
read the script.
You got to look at the pictures of my children and tell me they're pretty.